Hey everyone, welcome back to AI Pulse. I'm your AI host, and today we're diving into something massive: Trump's tariffs in 2025. If you've been scrolling X or watching the news, you've probably heard about these new trade taxes shaking things up. But what do they really mean? Are they a golden ticket for the US economy, or a ticking time bomb for the world? Will your iPhone cost $2,000? Could we be heading for a global recession? Stick with me for the next few minutes, because I'm breaking it all down. Super simple, with examples you'll actually get, and no jargon. By the end, you'll know everything: the good, the bad, the ugly, and what it means for you, me, and the planet. Oh, and if you like this kind of deep dive, smash that like button and subscribe to AI Pulse. Let's get pulsing with knowledge. Ready? Let's go! Okay, first things first. What's a tariff? Imagine you're at a lemonade stand. You're selling cups for $1, but your friend from another neighborhood comes in with their lemonade and sells it for 50 cents. Everyone buys theirs, and you're out of business. So, you tell your mom, who runs the street, to slap a 50-cent tax on their lemonade. Now their price matches yours, and you're back in the game. That's a tariff. A tax on stuff coming from other countries to make it more expensive, so local businesses, like yours, can compete. Trump's tariffs, announced in April 2025, are like that, but on steroids. He's put a 10% tax on everything imported to the US, plus extra high rates, like 25% on Canada and Mexico, and up to 34% on China. Why? He says it's to bring jobs back to America and make other countries play fair. But here's the catch. It's not just lemonade. It's cars, phones, clothes, food, trillions of dollars of stuff. So let's unpack how this shakes up the US economy first. Let's start with the US. Trump's big promise is that tariffs will boost American jobs. Picture this: a factory in Ohio making steel. Right now, it's cheaper to buy steel from China. But with a 34% tariff, that Chinese steel gets pricier, so companies might say, hey, let's buy from Ohio instead. That factory hires more workers, and boom, jobs. Trump calls this Liberation Day for American manufacturing. In his first term, tariffs on steel and aluminum in 2018 did create about 8,000 US jobs in those industries, according to some studies. So, there's some truth there. But hold up, it's not all sunshine. Who pays that tariff? Not China. US companies importing the stuff do. Say you're Walmart. You buy $100 worth of toys from China. Now, with a 34% tariff, you pay $134. Guess what? You're not eating that cost. You pass it to us, the shoppers. Suddenly, that $10 toy is $13.40. Economists say Trump's tariffs could cost the average US family $2,100 extra a year. That's like losing a month's groceries. And it gets messier. Higher costs mean businesses might cut back. Imagine a car company in Detroit using Canadian parts. A 25% tariff jacks up their costs, so they might lay off workers or raise car prices. JP Morgan says there's a 60% chance of a US recession by the end of 2025 because of this. Markets are freaking out too. The S&P 500 dropped nearly 5% the day after Trump's announcement on April 2nd. Investors hate uncertainty, and this is a roller coaster. Now let's zoom in on the good stuff for the US, because Trump's betting big on this. Tariffs could make Made in America a real thing again. Think about solar panels. China makes most of them cheap, but with tariffs, a company in Texas might start cranking them out. More factories, more jobs, maybe even in your town. In Trump's first term, his tariffs on China cut US imports from there by $300 billion, and some manufacturing did shift back home. Plus, the government gets cash. These tariffs could rake in $2.9 trillion over 10 years, says the Tax Foundation. That's money for roads, schools, or tax cuts. Stuff Trump loves promising. And if other countries back off their own trade tricks, like China dumping cheap steel, US companies could win big. It's like leveling the playground, so the US isn't the only kid sharing their toys. Here's a scenario. Bob owns a small tool company in Pennsylvania. Foreign tools flood the market, undercutting him. Tariffs hit, foreign prices rise, and suddenly, Bob's selling more hammers. He hires his cousin Joe, and they're thriving. That's the dream Trump's selling. But here's the flip side, and it's a doozy. Let's talk about you and me as consumers. Say you want a new phone. Apple imports parts from China. With tariffs, those parts cost more. So your iPhone jumps from $1,000 to $1,300 or more. Analysts say prices for cars, clothes, even avocados from Mexico could spike. Inflation's already a buzzword in 2025, and this could make it worse. Then there's retaliation. Canada's already slapped 25% tariffs on $155 billion of U.S. goods, like cars and food. If your job's exporting soybeans to China, and they hit back with their own taxes, you're toast. In 2018, China's tariffs on U.S. soybeans crushed farmers in the Midwest. Exports dropped 75%. History's repeating itself, and it's not pretty. Scenario time. Sarah runs a bakery in California. She uses Canadian flour, cheap and high quality. A 25% tariff hits, her costs soar, and she either raises cupcake prices, bye-bye customers, or cuts staff. Multiply that by millions of businesses, and you've got layoffs, slower growth, maybe a recession. The OECD says U.S. GDP could drop 1.6% long-term if this sticks. Now, let's go global. Trump's tariffs aren't just a U.S. party. They're a world event. Canada, Mexico, and China are pissed. They're not sitting quietly. They're fighting back. China's already hit U.S. goods with 34% tariffs. Europe's threatening countermeasures. Japan's calling it a national crisis. This is a trade war, folks. A global fistfight over money. Think of it like a neighborhood barbecue. The U.S. says, your burgers cost too much to bring in, and taxes them. So, Canada says, fine, your hot dogs are taxed too. Soon, no one's sharing food, prices go up, and everyone's hungry. Global supply chains, like for cars or tech, get wrecked. A Volkswagen plant in Mexico ships cars to the U.S. Tariffs hit, costs rise, and either prices jump or jobs get cut, here and there. The IMF says global growth could dip from 3.3% to 3.1% in 2025 because of this. Asia's getting hammered. Countries like South Korea and Taiwan rely on exporting chips to the U.S. Tariffs mess that up, and their economies wobble. It's a domino effect. Let's break down the global angle. The good for the world? If Trump's right, and this forces fairer trade, like stopping China from flooding markets with cheap stuff, global competition could get healthier. Smaller countries might step up, like Vietnam or India, filling gaps left by pricier Chinese goods. In Trump's first term, Vietnam's exports to the U.S. jumped 40% as companies dodged China tariffs. But the bad is brutal. Trade wars tank growth. Higher tariffs mean higher prices everywhere, not just the U.S. Europe's already sluggish. Add tariffs, and they're toast. Developing countries like Cambodia, hit with 49% U.S. tariffs, could collapse. They depend on exports. The World Trade Organization's freaking out, saying this could destroy the global free trade order. Scenario: Maria owns a clothing factory in Bangladesh. She exports to the U.S. A 10% tariff hits, her buyers bail, and she shuts down. Multiply that globally, and you've got unemployment, poverty, and chaos. Oxford Economics cut their 2025 global industrial growth forecast by 0.5% because of this. Let's time travel. This isn't new. Countries have tried big tariffs before, and it's a mixed bag. Take the U.S. in 1930, the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act. They jacked up tariffs on 20,000 imported goods to protect American farmers and factories during the Great Depression. Sound familiar? Result? Disaster. Other countries retaliated. Global trade crashed 66%, and the Depression got worse. Experts say it added years to the misery. Unemployment hit 25%, and the world suffered. Fast forward to 2002. Bush put tariffs on steel imports. Jobs in steel grew by 1,200, but higher costs killed 200,000 jobs in industries using steel, like cars and construction. Net loss, 198,800 jobs. Ouch. Trump's 2018 tariffs on China had a similar vibe. Some manufacturing came back, but farmers got crushed by retaliation, and taxpayers bailed them out with $28 billion. History screams, tariffs can backfire hard. Okay, let's play what if. Best case for the US. Tariffs work. Factories pop up in Ohio, Texas, everywhere. Jobs boom, maybe 500,000 new ones, says Trump's team. Prices rise a bit, but wages grow too, and we're okay. Globally, countries negotiate, trade evens out, and we avoid a war. Think Bob's Tool Company thriving worldwide. Worst case for the US. Recession. Inflation spikes to 5%. Prices soar, and companies cut 1 million jobs. Markets crash. S&P 500 down 20%. Retaliation kills exports, and we're isolated. Globally, it's a nightmare. Trade halts, China's economy tanks, Europe's in recession, and poor countries starve. The IMF says a full trade war could cut global GDP by 2%. That's $2 trillion gone. Realistic scenario? Probably in between. Some jobs, some pain, lots of chaos, unless Trump blinks. So what's this mean for us? In the US, your wallet's taking a hit. Higher prices on everything. If you work in manufacturing, maybe you're golden. If you're in retail or farming, you're sweating. Globally, it's the same. Richer countries argue, poorer ones suffer. Think of Juan in Mexico. His auto job's gone because US tariffs killed demand. Or Lee in China, laid off from her phone factory. This could spark a recession. 2 quarters of shrinking GDP. Goldman Sachs says 35% chance in the US, higher globally. And trade wars? They're here. Canada, China, Europe are swinging back. It's not just money, it's lives, stability, everything. All right, we've covered it all. Tariffs 101, US wins and losses, global chaos, history's warnings, and what's next. Trump's tariffs could be a game changer or a train wreck. It's up to how he plays it and how the world hits back. Thanks for watching AI Pulse. If you loved this, subscribe, and ring that bell. We're pulsing with big ideas every week. Drop your thoughts below. Are tariffs genius or disaster? See you next time.